Now to Japan, where tomorrow hundreds of thousands of Liberal Democratic Party members will vote for their next leader, with the winner likely to become the next Prime Minister. Now, this follows the resignation of Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba, who stepped down after the LDP suffered historic defeats in national elections.
Many here in Tokyo have become weary of politics. Japan is about to be on its fourth Prime Minister in just 5 years.
Looking at all the prime ministers so far, they haven't really changed much, so I do hope the next person who takes over will bring some change.
There are a number of fundamental issues which have to be discussed. However, politicians try to get away from these issues for political reasons.
After 2 crushing election defeats that lost the party its majority in both houses of parliament, the ruling LDP faces an uphill battle to regain public trust and revive an economy hit by rising prices and stagnant wages. 2 frontrunners are vying to turn around the party's fortune. Shinjiro Koizumi, young, media-savvy, presenting himself as a reformer, and Sanae Takeichi, a conservative hawk from the party old guard. Both would make history if elected, Takeichi as Japan's first female leader and Koizumi as its youngest in recent history. But they differ in their visions for Japan's place in the world. Takeichi has made her nationalist stance clear, from a tougher line on China to hardline views on immigration.
We cannot accept those who pretend to be refugees but actually have economic motives. Then there are illegal immigrants who must be asked to return home.
Koizumi strikes a more pragmatic tone. He's been focusing on steady ties with Washington, Tokyo's longtime security ally, to weather regional storms and boost the economy.
Japan-US relations remain the cornerstone of Japan's foreign policy under President Trump. To further raise our relationship to new heights, I plan to arrange a meeting with President Trump at the earliest opportunity.
But even a much-touted trade deal with the US may not persuade disillusioned voters. Many are already turning away from the centre-right LDP in favour of right-wing populist party Sanseito, critical of immigration and foreign influence.
Business as usual doesn't really work for the LDP. It could go in one of 2 directions. Either the party changes or Japanese politics will change, and that could be to the detriment of the LDP.
That puts the LDP under immense pressure to choose a leader who can deliver change. It will be up to only 295 lawmakers and around 900,000 party members to pick the new party leader and, most likely, Japan's next prime minister. His or her challenge will be to restore faith at home while guiding one of Asia's most important democracies in an increasingly uncertain region.
Straight to the Japanese capital then, and we can join journalist Sonja Blaschke. Welcome, Sonja. I can imagine this vote being carefully watched by China and by the United States. Just highlight for us the foreign policy approaches of the 2 main candidates to these 2 countries.
Yes, that was mentioned in the report earlier. Takaichi is the most conservative of the candidates, and I think China will be mostly watching her and see if she's elected. I mean, it's pretty clear that she has a very confrontational style, and things will be much less balanced if she wins the race. She is known for visiting a shrine where war criminals are enshrined, so if that happens, obviously that will cause some stir in the region, whereas Koizumi, the other front runner, is seen as more balanced. It was mentioned as well in the report earlier. And there's also a third person, Hayashi, who is the chief cabinet secretary, who is also seen as more balanced. In case of Koizumi, who seems to have the highest chances at the moment, he seems to be a bit of a wild card because he's also visited the shrine like Takaichi, but on the other hand, he's shown a more balanced, more diplomatic stance. But because he's also the youngest, he has the least experience. So it remains to be seen how he will adapt and how his foreign policy will change and maybe also mature if he's being elected.
And have US tariffs on Japanese goods like cars and car parts played any sort of role in this campaign?
Of course, the American the tariffs have been playing a role in Japan, the economy has been sluggish for a while, and now on top of that, there are these relatively high tariffs. Japan has agreed to invest billions of dollars in the US, but the details are still unclear. And Takaichi has indicated that she would like to possibly renegotiate that deal, whereas the other candidates have shown a bit less inclination to change things and are trying to strike a more diplomatic note or a diplomatic tone, I guess. So yes, that has played a role.
Just looking at this from outside Japan, it's interesting to see that migration seems to be an issue for Sanae Takaichi and for the right-wing populists. Is Japan seeing much immigration?
Not really. I mean, compared to European countries or other countries, it's really a tiny fraction, but people are not used to seeing foreigners. I have not been until 2-3 years ago when tourism promotion campaigns actually really worked. I mean, the government has been trying to invite more people to the country, also as workers, not just as travelers. But in some areas, it's still kind of difficult for many Japanese to adapt, and the speed has been rapid. And at the same time, as I said before, the economy has been sluggish. So as in many places, when the economy is a bit slow, people are worried and tend to be more conservative. And that's what the Sunset or this populist party has used to its advantage.
All right, we shall watch and wait. Thank you for talking us through that. Journalist Sonja Blaschke in Tokyo.